Hello there! This week is Independent Booksellers Week and I am going to be doing the Independent Booksellers tag created by Will over at the Vintage blog, which I will link down below. Very good tag, and I thought I would just jump on the bandwagon because it's Independent Booksellers Week. Hey! I am going to be looking down, again as per, I haven't memorised the question. So, number 1, what book is currently in your bag? I've got a beast of a book at the moment. It's The Crimson Petal and the White by Michelle Faber. This is a big book. It doesn't necessarily look as big as it is, but it's very heavy and it's like over 900 pages. It's quite a beast to be carrying around in my bag, but I'm absolutely in love with it and I just want to just devour it every moment of my day at the moment, which is a bit of a pain because obviously cannot. But this has completely stolen my heart. This is my second Michelle Faber. I also read the book of Strange New Things, which I was a bit disappointed with, so I'm really enjoying this a lot more. Basically, I'm only, well, I say only, I'm 220 pages in, but in the book of this size, that's not anything really. So I can't tell you greatly what this is about at the moment, but from what I know, it's about Sugar, who is a prostitute who we have met, but it's not focusing on her at the moment. I'm quite hoping that it's going to get back to her because I really enjoyed her character, but at the moment it's sort of focusing on the characters around her and the effect she has on a certain man in particular, and it's just fantastic. It's written in the second person but in a really interesting way, so it sort of takes you into it, lets you choose almost, but not obviously because it's still dictating, but it's like, oh, who shall we follow at this impasse? Shall we carry on with this character or shall we go off with that one? Which I really enjoy because it's just a bit of interaction almost. And like in the beginning, we're looking at a sleeping prostitute and the narrator sort of says, oh, go on, get in beside her. You know, if you're a woman, she won't even care. And like, oh, I really enjoy that sort of. It's almost like an adventure book where you're like, oh, I'm in this. Number 2, what is the last great book you read? I think you probably all know that it's going to be The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I'll link my review of this down below, but it's fantastic and I have been pushing this on everybody and none of my family members or friends are biting or picking it up. So quite heartbreaking, so I hope someone out there is reading it because you should be. Then number 3, what book have you gifted the most? I'm not going to say anything for this answer because I don't gift books because nobody that I know reads or cares about reading, and if I gifted them a book it would go in the shelf and it would never be read, so I don't gift books. Sorry about that. Number 4, what's your favourite independent bookshop? I'd say Mr. B's in Bath. It's this lovely little bookshop down a back street in Bath and they are just fantastic. The array of books is lovely. The people in there are always lovely and they do even reading spas where they sort of recommend books to you. They do a reading year where someone can buy you at the start of the year and you will then get a book a month for the rest of the year, which is fantastic. They also deliver, so you can order online and get them delivered instead of going on Amazon or something like that. I think it's so much nicer to get it from a bookshop and still get that convenience of the package. Also, the packages come in lovely brown paper and it's like Christmas. So yes, that's my favourite. Number 5, what's been your favourite book recommended by a bookseller or fellow booktuber? I don't really know with this one. I can't remember necessarily being recommended anything by a bookseller other than when I've been buying things, they've been like, oh, excellent book, but I can't remember ever being recommended something by a bookseller that I'm like, I need that in my life. Possibly because I generally know what I'm after when I'm in a bookshop. Sadly, I don't have the time ever to be a browser in a bookshop because I'm generally with someone else who is like, oh, bookshop. My life is really disappointing in that way. But in terms of Booktube, I'm going to go with Ali Smith, The Accidental. Ali Smith is an author that I was aware of before, but I never knew that she would be someone I was interested in. For some reason, I don't know, I just didn't realise that she was this excellent literary writer. I thought she was going to be a certain kind of writer. I can't even say what kind of writer I thought. Maybe a crime writer, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, so from people saying that I would enjoy Ali Smith on Booktube, I picked this up and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Number 6, what's your favourite book Bookshop memory. For me, this is going to be set in a Waterstones because I grew up in a town that didn't have any independent booksellers, and so Waterstones was the only bookshop available to me. So it doesn't really fit with Independent Booksellers Week, but I will add an Independent Booksellers memory in a minute. So my favourite all-time bookshop memory is when I got my first job, and it was in the same town centre as the Waterstones, and literally like 3-minute walk away. And I used to have really bad days and people used to abuse me because, you know, standard working with the public. And I would just walk down to the bookshop and spend all my wages on books, because why else do we work than to buy books? So that's my sort of favourite memory. I really loved those days because it would even make me feel better when someone was shouting in my face to just be like, I'm going to go to Waterstones in a minute and I'm going to buy books. In terms of independent booksellers, my favourite memory is probably finding Mr. B's and Toppings. Toppings is a more recent discovery for me, but I think that was almost very exciting because Mr. B's I discovered not long after I moved near Bath, probably about 6 months after I moved here, we discovered that one. But Toppings and Company, I never knew it was there. To be honest, I never searched for independent bookshop sellers in Bath because I knew Mr. B's and that was all I needed in my life. But Katie at Books and Things, who I will link down below, she has a fantastic channel and she used to live in Bath and she mentioned Toppings. So I googled this and found it, and it was such a revelatory moment finding this bookshop. It's absolutely huge, and I never knew it was there, so that was really exciting. Then number 7, what do bookshops mean to you? What do you love about them? Well, books. They mean books. They sell books. I love books. That's all I need to say for that question, really, isn't it? Number 8, what are the books that made you? Which books have most affected or influenced you? I don't want to go too much into this because I am going to be doing an influential books video soon, but I'm going to briefly talk about 2 that I've pulled out. So Just Kids by Patti Smith, because it changed my view of my own creativity, and it really is just a special book for anybody creatively minded or interested in writing or painting or singing or anything like that. It's just fantastic and inspiring and lovely. So there's that one. And then there is Carson McCullers' The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. This is a Southern American novel written when Carson McCullers was 23, no less, which basically looks at the way we view people who we don't understand, and almost when we put someone on a pedestal and completely misunderstand them, and also the way that ultimately we may be together but we're all alone as well, and we all view the world through our own glasses and we don't necessarily see what's right in front of us. It's a fantastic book, and it very much got me into Southern American literature. It very much led me to John Steinbeck, and I've also got a Eudora Welty that I know I'm going to love when I get round to it. So this book kind of changed my reading habits and is just fantastic. Number 9, what book do you recommend as a gift for Father's Day? To be honest, I looked through my shelf. I don't necessarily have anything specifically that would be appropriate for Father's Day. However, if your father is a reader and has not read Grapes of Wrath, because did I mention this as a great book, he should probably read this. I think most fathers would enjoy this, and most people would enjoy this. So if your father is a reader and hasn't read this, I would recommend this. Then the last question, number 10, what is currently at the top of your TBR pile? I have got Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. I've owned this for a very long time, and it's just one of those books that keeps falling by the wayside for me, and I don't know why, because I think I'm going to really enjoy it. It basically looks at intelligence. From what I know, it's about a man who has a really low IQ in the beginning, and I know in the beginning the language is sort of written in his speech and it's really simplistic and not obviously very educated, and a scientist gets hold of him, I think, and turns him into this genius somehow. I've heard this is really heartbreaking and sad, and I look forward to it. So there's that one. So that's all the questions. I'm not going to necessarily tag anyone because I wasn't tagged, but Will did say he wants to see how far this tag can go, so please, if anybody wants to answer these questions, then do so and link me down below so I can check out your videos, and I will see you all later. Bye.